Yep, it is another video where I jump right into the speed build, and here we are. Today we are rebuilding my legacy house, legacy challenge house. And I thought that kinda lately we did go a little bit into some sort of like occult kind of vibe in my legacy. So I thought that probably we should embrace that, and we are gonna build a castle today. So my legacy challenge was in its first generation for over a year right now. And that is quite a while, and that is because, like one episode per week or maybe per 2 weeks, and we are trying to kind of play in a normal lifespan by the original rules of the legacy challenge. But I know original rules for the legacy challenge are not that hard. Like the only rule is you play normal lifespan in the same lot, and you're to pick the most expensive lot in your game. When I was starting, I only had base game and maybe a couple of packs that did not have any worlds with them. So I think that when I was starting with my legacy challenge, I only had a tiny living. So yep, I spent quite a bit of money on packs in the recent year, but now I have them all, so it's a little bit more fun to play because Sims games are a little bit fuller when you have more packs. But that is maybe a downside for a lot of people because the game turns to be quite expensive, but that's not what we are here to talk about. We are here to talk about the house that I did build for my legacy challenge. And for my legacy challenge, I decided to build a castle because we are in a cult team and we have our heir, a vampire. Being a vampire, he has a potential girlfriend. Our last episode has ended with him going on a date, and that was a little bit of an inconvenience when I was trying to go and build this house because him being busy, him being outside of the lot, kind of was inconvenient when I had to go to the leaf mod for my legacy and to, switch some things around. So that was kind of not really nice, but, dealing with what we have to deal. So that's okay. That's not what we are here to talk about. We are here to talk about the castle that I have built. And in here, I kind of decided to embrace fully the new Life and Death pack because the build things, build items in this pack are quite beautiful. Like we have quite a bit of some roofing decor, we have quite a bit of wallpaper, so we have a lot of windows, and I'm kind of happy about it because I have used several ones of them, and of course, I usually prefer not using like a huge variety of windows on my houses because if I do that, it looks a little bit goofy because having a lot of different windows doesn't look so good as you might expect that because not all of them are gonna match each other and stuff like that, and maybe some of the windows are gonna look a little bit too random for my liking. So I was trying to go for different windows but not too different because having too different of the windows is gonna look a little bit weird. But yes, I have used windows from two packs. I was using here windows from the Castle Estate pack, also the kit, not the pack. And I also was using the new windows from the Life and Death expansion pack, and they matched kind of nicely because mainly they were going for the same style in these two packs, and they are kind of like cross compatible, I might say. So they look similarly, they have some similar stone swatches, so they are gonna look nice with each other. So I will be using the packs from the Castle Estate as well, and also with these whole windows from the new pack, I was enjoying myself because I got to pick the most beautiful windows we do have in the game. Of course, some of them are kind of like rustic looking, but that also gives the vibe for a vampire castle, isn't it? Like if the vampire is to have a manor for himself, then why wouldn't he have some like big and beautiful windows, like them all looking old, them all looking maybe a little bit rustic, as I have said, because it's a vampire, and I'm imagining that maybe a vampire was living for so long that the castle he's living in is getting old as well, but the vampire doesn't want to move because the vampire still remembers how much in love this person was with this house or with this castle when he initially moved in here. So that's kind of the energy I was trying to go for up here, but maybe in some spaces it was going a little bit like off that, but I was trying to keep up with like old manor house like everywhere in here. We even have just two floor types in the entire build. Like we have only either a stone floor or we have a wooden floor, like wooden, like a rich wooden floor. And maybe that looked a little bit weird in some spots, in some points, but for me it kind of looked matching. And I know that this house has a bit of technology, that it doesn't look as maybe costly and old as it might have looked, but our vampire got to be a vampire like literally it seems 2 days ago. That wasn't so long. He hasn't lived so long yet. Of course, he's gonna live longer than anybody in this household, and I was thinking that maybe our vampire is gonna make his partner a vampire as well. So that, they're gonna move somewhere out somewhere later in the game and they're gonna live forever, and that's gonna be kind of fun because, if we have our legacy heir living forever, if we have our legacy founder living forever, then it is a little bit too many Sims living in the same household in the same time already. Like, for now, I have 7 Sims, and that's a little bit too much for me because we have 2 cats and I need to keep up with them because I need to make sure that all of them are well tended, that they're happy, that they're satisfied with the quality, I don't know, of food, with the placement of their litter box, maybe with the fun thing they can do. And for that purpose, I need to spend quite a bit of time with them. And I sometimes forget about my cats because, they're small, they are not so visible as big Sims we have in here. They are not screaming like the babies in the game, so they're a little bit easier to miss sometimes. And that is a little bit of a difficulty I have with owning pets in the game, and that is usually when I have pets in the game, I tend to sometimes quit the saves in some time because I usually am not able to keep up with having quite a bit of pets in my game. But in here, it's surprisingly been long for me to have all the pets I have in here. And I'm not quitting my legacy. We're still playing. We're still keeping it here. We're still staying. Like I'm not leaving this legacy. But in the same time, kind of sometimes I start thinking that maybe having 2 cats is a little bit too much. And I was saying how much Sims I have in my safe, and I was completely blown off by those like cat thoughts I have. But in my safe, I literally have like 2 cats. I have 3 kids of my Sims, and I have two my Sims. Yes, we are playing a normal lifespan, but in the same time, the partner of my legacy founder just turned to be elder, and that is kind of maybe like not so bad. But in the same time, the problem is that my legacy founder is young adult, and she's not just young adult. She's literally in the very beginning of her being young adult. Like she's as young as she was when I just did create her, and that is not so good, I might say, because she lives forever now, but she died twice, so she had to become young, and I did not expect her to become this young, but she's quite young now. And I kind of am struggling with her being so young because this is a little bit of a problem for a legacy because you kind of move on. Like, yes, we just had our 2 teens like recently, kind of like in a couple last month in real life. We had 2 teens in my legacy turn to be young adults, and that is kind of like a trigger to turn to the second generation. But I did not do that because I still have my legacy founder being young adult. Like she is literally older now than the child, her literal husband, who she married 3 times, had brought to the household when they were initially moving in with each other. And that has been a lot, of course, but she's lived forever. And I think that she is gonna live forever because, she used that kind of a potion that we have from the realm of magic that your Sim's gonna die of old age, so she's not gonna die of old age, even if she ages, even if she lives to be old. But I was thinking that now that I think of that, I will not revive her anymore if she dies again. Like, a third time is a charm to say so. I don't know. I don't know how to say so, but she is gonna die if she's gonna die again. But that there are some risks in this household that can cause her to die because As the usual, we have several death traps around our lot. Like we have that pond with piranhas in here. I did not leave that in our old lot. Like we are moving this thing with us. Also, she has that wishing well from which I'm not sure if you can die, but I think that you should be able to die from that. Also, we have a cow plant and a fire toilet because I'm not leaving my fire toilet. My fire toilet moves with me, and that is just a little like an addition to a bit of a chaotic gameplay. But I know that not everybody might like having a bit of chaos in their gameplay, but I like having a bit of chaos in my gameplay because if I have chaos, then it's like some ideas to play with something. It's some ideas to do something. Like as for my legacy in here, we literally were rich for like last, I don't know, several episodes because we used to have a money tree, and I decided to sell that because it was a little bit too cheaty for me. We were accumulating money a little bit too fast for my liking, so I decided to get rid of that money tree, and now we don't have it, but we have some money from that. So we were rich from that money tree, and that's not something that I really like for my Sims because it was a little bit too easy for me to play. And I like the struggle. I like when my Sims don't have any money, and when I like it when my Sims do not have any skills. I like it when my Sims get recluse from trying to repair the TV, and we did not have that in a while now because our legacy founder has lived forever already, and that is the reason why she's fixing stuff and she's a witch, so she literally doesn't even have us to do that, so she can do that with magic, so it's really easy for me. And now I think that it's not a video to discuss my legacy, so I should probably come back to the house itself. As for the house, you might have seen that it is 2 stories high, like originally. Like that's the usual height for my builds, as I prefer that. But this house also has attic, and I was kind of trying to place everything as I wanted to furnish the house for it to be like complete, but I was picking a little bit maybe too expensive appliances originally, and also I had to buy all of this stuff again for here because we are building not in my legacy save file because I was afraid that I might break something and I did not want to break something. So in here we were building like in a different safe, and I was trying to play safe. So I did not furnish the attic in here in the end because I ran out of money, and you will see why, I guess, because I think you already can see why, because this lot value is already 80,000 simoleons where I watch right now. And that is because the castle stuff is kind of expensive, and we have quite a big of yard, and we also have quite a bit of columns in here, quite expensive like wallpapers, quite expensive windows and doors. We also have some of the decor on our lot that we had to pay for, like wishing well, that piranha pond, also a couple of fountains. Also, we use some debug stuff, of course, but debug stuff is for free, so we do not have to pay for that. But windows and doors for this house only turned out to be quite expensive, and I did not expect that, but that's what we got in the end. But I just don't think that that is a bad thing because I think that in the end, still, this house, even though it's kind of expensive on the outside, it's not that expensive on the inside. Actually, the inside adds like extra 100,000 simoleons, so that is still quite expensive. But even though it adds to the value of the house, I think that the inside kind of matches too. And I know that for some of my sims, it might have ended up to be a downgrade because when I was moving them up here, some of them got smaller rooms, like maybe our legacy founder couple, but they, even though they got a smaller room, I think that they got a better room. Like at least they have more stuff to do in there. Of course, our sim, who we are gonna continue to play with, is gonna get the best room because that is, as for me, that is just how the legacy usually works. Because parents do not get the best room when you're not playing with the parents anymore. The best room is gonna go to the heir because the heir is gonna live in there. The heir needs to have a good room. So that's what I was kind of trying to go for. And as I was working around the house, of course, I was trying to add quite a bit of detail because I kind of cannot stand it when my houses don't have like these tiny details. So we also turned out to have quite a bit of like tiny gnomes around a lot. Like legacy houses do turn out to be a little bit weird when you live, at least for me, because I prefer some sort of a chaotic gameplay. I do not like it when everything is fine, when everybody is fine, when everybody is having fun. As I have said, I like it when my sims do struggle, and when you're playing with legacy, they at some point they cannot struggle with money anymore. So you have to imagine some new things for them to struggle about, like, you know, somebody dying and stuff like that. Maybe somebody struggling to keep up with the millions of their hobbies they have, like, Jenny, the lady who is a spellcaster, who is a criminal, and also who has a gardening as a hobby, and also she likes painting. But legacy founders usually have a lot about them than some of the sim that turn out to be somewhere in the middle of legacy, as for me at least, because somewhere in the middle of legacy you kind of have to keep up with the stuff that the game throws at you. Like, maybe game is gonna tell you, like, this sim is gonna be insider, and now everything you have about this sim is that they like clubs, and that's it. That is just me complaining about an inside trade. I just think that this trade is a little bit maybe weird and not as complicated and interesting as some others, but that is just me. I did not play with the insider trade for quite a bit already. Maybe even seeing the Get Together was released originally, because I don't think that I have played with it ever in the recent like 8 years or maybe 5 years. I don't remember me playing with this trade, but I used to like this trade quite a bit when I was playing with the Get Together when it was originally released, because it was a fun trade. Like, we did not have all that much stuff to do, so I was really liking inviting my club over that I would create and ask everybody to dance somewhere in the yard. And I would like to maybe sometimes build some sort of like an open house where we have maybe a divided building for bedrooms, divided building for a kitchen. Maybe kitchen is going to be open at all. Like, when we did not have season, that was kind of easy. But now that we have seasons, we need to keep in mind that we have seasons. So we cannot have that open kitchen concept anymore, because it gets a little bit too difficult to play with when you have seasons, because you might guess that when you have seasons sometimes you're gonna have rain, and if you have rain and some of your appliances might break. If you have rain, maybe also you might have a thunderstorm, and with the thunderstorm, of course, you might get struck by lightning while cooking, and that is not something that we do need to happen. At least in my game, that would be a little bit too much for me. And as I'm saying that, yes, it is 20 minutes of me landscaping this lot, like literally. It's been 20 minutes sped up, and I did speed this video up 10 times. So you might guess how long it took me to landscape the house. I did take my time. I was spending quite a bit of time doing that. I did not try to rush at all, but even though I was kind of going carefully around the house, I was placing like some of the trims, some of the freezers, trying to place them like by wall, and I was not placing them like by rooms as the game suggests you to do by default, because it's easier for most players. Even with these tiny details I was trying to place into the game, I still was struggling with some of the clipping on the inside of the house, and that is of course thanks to move objects. And actually, I might tell you that I might have spent a little bit more time trying to landscape the whole house, because I recently decided to stop using Better Build by mod, because I had some struggles with Green Reapers, rewards with that. Because of these mods, I could not complete some of the rewards. Like, I couldn't complete a task that required you to plant something on your lot, and without this mod, I could do that. So I did remove this mod. I had to remove the cache files too, had to remove some of the data that this mod creates in the game. So I thought that it's a little bit too much of a hassle to try and do that every single time I want to use something from debug, and whenever maybe EA is gonna create some more events like Green Reaper's rewards, and it's gonna be a little bit annoying to do that all the time. So I decided that, I might try and spend some time just to be able to do that without these mods. So now I'm getting used to again to use debug without better build by mod. And of course, better build by mod kind of makes it much, much, much easier. And if you do not care for all of these rewards and stuff, I highly recommend you to use this mod if you like building in The Sims because it makes it so much easier. But I still decided that I'm gonna skip it for me, probably, to feel the real struggle of the average Sims player who is playing without mods and stuff. But that's just me trying to figure out some sort of excuse for me to stop using this mod because this mod is good. I like this mod, but I am not using this mod anymore because I just thought that trying to install it and uninstall it every single time I need to do something of the some of the events is gonna be a little bit too much of a hassle for me. So not using that anymore. And now as I was saying that, I'm kind of going already on the inside of the house, and you might have noticed that now we do have a budget, and we do have a budget because of the camera. Actually, it was on the footage, but I just did cut it out. I went back to my household. I did place these slots on my in my legacy save because I did not want to remove my legacy house before I was kind of sure with the look of the exterior of the house at least. And when I was doing that, I got so confident with what I'm doing that I was so happy that I decided that, now I can go into my safe and place it in there. So now we do have a budget. You see that we have quite a bit of money, but that money did run out kind of quickly because I was placing some sort of expensive stuff in the house. And yes, some of the new stuff in this pack is not that cheap, but that's kind of expectable because, manors are not cheap. Like you kind of expect manor to be expensive, so I am not complaining about that. It's kind of expected, at least on my side, that it's gonna be expensive. So it is. And as for this house, I should probably warn you too that you will not be able to see some of the things that I'm making just because it's all in black. It's literally not visible. It's not visible properly. Like you cannot see the house nicely in the default lighting that it put. So yeah, it's gonna be kind of a dark era for my legacy, I might say, but is that a bad thing? Actually, I think that it's not. So the house is gonna be mostly dark. It uses quite a lot of black colors in here, but maybe that is the fun thing about this new legacy house. And you might have also noticed that some of the landscaping around the house did change, and that is caused by the fact that I did originally landscape this house not on this lot, and then I was landscaping it again not on this lot. And the problem with it is when I was moving a lot to my library and then when I was placing back into my different safe, some of the things did not move properly. So yeah, we did struggle with that a little bit, but I kind of dealt with that. And when I was checking how this whole house is being placed on different lots, somehow the one that was saved from this legacy file does place nicely everywhere, and I'm satisfied with that. But it did not place in here nicely, so that was a little bit of a struggle for me. In the end, I have figured it out. Now it's all fixed. Now it's all nice. Now we are building a nice and beautiful kitchen, and kind of expensive one because we are using quite a lot of decor. We are placing some different stuff in here. And I also decided to place in here that weird like book from the vampires, but I'm just imagining that this book is like a recipe book for the family. Like maybe they have some special recipes, like maybe some dark secrets are kept in there, but of course not in the kitchen because in the kitchen it's a little bit too obvious for us. And I have decided for the floor plan that we are not gonna make anything like too difficult in here, and that I'm not gonna try and fill every single corner of this house because I tend to do that all the time, and I kind of was doing that in here as well, but I was trying to avoid that. So we are not having like millions of carpets in every single one of the rooms, but we have still quite a bit of them. But as for the rooms on the first floor, in there we have quite a bit of a kitchen with like a breakfast nook, which is literally like a dining area in there. But we also have a formal dining room that is like literally closed off room, which is accessible from our living room. And in our living room, we have not so much things to do, but in there we literally just have some sitting area, we have some bookshelves, we have some cat toys, we have a knitting basket. Also in there we have a cross stitch box. So your Sims might have quite a bit of things to do out there. And also I decided to place here several bathrooms in this house. Maybe that's a little bit weird, but we do have a tiny little corner bathroom that's weirdly shaped, but that looks fun. I like that because that's like a tiny little dungeon bathroom that looks old and not well maintained, but it's perfect. It doesn't even have all that much decor. It doesn't have any, I guess, but it still looks nice. But for the floor plan on the first floor, we do have all, except for all of the rooms that I did mention before, which are kitchen, dining room, and living room. We also have in here an office room. And as for the office, I kind of like the way this office looks because in there we have a jewelry making table. Also in there we do have several bookshelves because as I'm kind of going for, Damon is gonna be a Green Reaper for us, a Reaper of these families. So he's gonna live forever. He's gonna reap everybody, and I'm happy with that. Like he's not gonna. I guess I'm not sure how that works still, but I guess that he's not gonna autonomously spawn whenever somebody dies because we are still gonna have Green Reaper for that purpose. But I'm still imagining that for storytelling, having a sim in a household who is a reaper, who is immortal, who's a vampire is gonna be so fun for me. So I am kind of happy about this idea of mine. So I think that you like this idea too. But if you don't, that's okay too. You don't need to like every single idea that I have because that's literally pointless. So he has an office room where we are going to have a computer, where we are going to have several bookshelves, where we are going to have a jewelry making table because the jewelry making table was imagined by me at first as something that Jenny is going to do with her life because I was imagining that she might make some jewelry for her family because we might want to have family heirloom, and she did make a ring, so that ring is going to be our family heirloom. But as she's going to live for a while, we still have plenty of time to make all of the heirloom we might want to have. So I'm gonna see about that. Maybe we're gonna make something different too. But for now, we have a ring, so that's okay. Literally, for the floor plan on the first floor, that is it. And of course, the fun stuff, we have a greenhouse, but the greenhouse is always fun. And this time, I think that I've made the most beautiful greenhouse that I have ever made. We even have there like a big indoor tree growing in there. So that looks expensive, that looks good, and I'm kind of satisfied with that. And I hope that you like it too, because I like it, so I hope that you like it too. And as for all of the other house, like literally on the second floor, I did not spend all that much time because on the second floor, literally all we have is three bathrooms, four bedrooms, and that's it. And for the bedrooms, I was kind of trying to go for more of the style that we used to have originally in them. So I tried to keep some of the beds the same and literally turned out to be only one bed for Jenny and Justin, so they have still that vibrating heart back from the Lovestruck packs. That's silly, I know. That's what I wanted them to have in there, and they do have it in there. So they have that bed still. They also have an easel in their bedroom and an office desk, like just a desk, so that Justin can still continue with his programming. Jenny can still continue with her painting because she like that. So that is what I was imagining for their bedroom. So they are gonna have that. And as for some of the other bedrooms, like for Genevieve's bedroom, we also did give her a desk. We also did give her a robotics table so that she can continue working with her robotics after she finishes up with her university, because now she is a little bit too busy with her university because she has quite a lot of things to do out there. And as for Camila, she has the most boring bedroom because, yes, she's just gonna chill. That's what her life purpose. Not everybody needs to be a hard worker. Not everybody needs career. Some of us just do need to have a work that just sustain their like way of living, so that they can live, so that they can rest, so that they can enjoy the ocean. And she is gonna move to the island living world. She is gonna move to Solani, and I'm gonna be very happy for her when she will do that. And and now I think that she might be an environmental scientist kind of, but now that I think about that, even though she might become one, she's not gonna become one, because I don't think that that's gonna be maybe something that she doesn't want to do at all. Maybe she's gonna be a diver and she's gonna dive for shells, or maybe, yeah, actually, that is an idea. She can be a diver. She's gonna dive for shells, and that's fun. She's not gonna dive for fish because she's mermaid and she's gonna become sad because of it. But she can dive for fish, and that's gonna be fun for me, at least. At least I hope so. And back to the furnishing. As I was doing the bathrooms, you might have noticed that I was kind of going a lot for the archways, a lot for the columns and spandrels, a lot of dividing the rooms. But that's because when I was imagining like an old bathroom, I keep imagining like a divided bathroom where we have a divided room for the toilet, divided room for washing yourself and stuff. So in here in the bathroom, I kind of pursued that idea. So in here, in all of the bathrooms, we are just gonna have like a room where you enter. In there, you have a sink and a tub, probably like in all, not in all of them, but somewhere through those like archways, which are like custom ones made of spandrels and columns. Through these archways, you will be able to access some different stuff, like a toilet somewhere on the first floor, maybe a shower tub combo somewhere on the first floor too. On the second floor, I made a pedestal for my toilet, and that is maybe very, very, very silly, but I made a pedestal for my fire toilet. Everybody needs to see that it's not just a usual toilet. It is a fire toilet. It is special. It is important for the legacy storytelling. It can spontaneously combust. What else do you want from the toilet? The toilet that can explode. Isn't it perfect? Isn't it fun? I think that it was fun, maybe for me originally, and I don't think that it stopped to be fun. So we still do have a fire toilet in this house, and I'm not complaining. I'm happy about that. And I managed to find a special spot for this fire toilet, so that is double the fun, isn't it? For me, it is. So we do have a fire toilet in here. We have a special pedestal for this fire toilet, so that is very, very fun for me. So that's what I'm enjoying about this house. And also, I decided to divide in some other of the bathrooms a litter box. So in some of the bathrooms, we literally have a separated room for cats litter box. And I think that is not a bad thing, because having a divided area for cats litter box kind of can give a cat some privacy. And if you used to have cats, cats can be a little bit like, anxious looking when they want to use their litter box. So I decided that I'm gonna let my cats do that calmly. I'm gonna let my cats do that without any interruptions, so that they can just enjoy themselves in their litter box. And that sounds weird, so very, very, very weird, but that's what we have in here. And now I'm kind of slowly finishing up with the bedrooms. Like, the bedrooms are literally usually the most boring part of the houses for me, because I know that most of the people kind of like setting each of the bedrooms their own character, their own style. But in this house, I was trying to pursue like some sort of like uniform style for the whole house. Maybe some of the bedrooms for the living seems do look a little bit more warm and welcoming than one of the vampire, because in the vampire's bedroom we literally don't have a bed, we just have a coffin in there, and all of the other room is literally an office. And when I was doing that, I got kind of a little bit carried away, because I know that when you are building a house, you want to give every single area of the house some sort of like a character for the Sims who live in there, so that you look at this house and you see what kind of Sims live in here. But in here we not have it all that much, but maybe somehow, a little bit at least. But later I was kind of adding some details to the house, and I think that for my legacy houses, I kind of prefer making a little bit more of a boring setup like original, but then like add some tiny details, like family photos, like some paintings from the school time and stuff like that. But in the same time, I do not like adding a lot of activities to my Sims bedrooms, because when they are all in their bedrooms, I keep losing them, and I don't manage to take care of them as well as I want to take care of them, so it doesn't work for me like that. So usually when I'm trying to figure out legacy house, I try to place most of the activity somewhere in the community area so that my sims are not going to be always in their bedrooms. In here, of course, I did not do that completely because, everybody has their hobby stuff in their bedrooms. But in the same time, we still have quite a bit of things to do in the community area. And as I was kind of completing to furnish this house, you might see now that we don't have a budget again. And that is because when I ran out of money, I did go back to my save file where I was building originally without any money. And in here, I just decided to see how much this house is gonna cost in like a perfect state, say so. In a state in which I would like to download this house for my legacy, but I cannot because I cannot afford that. So it was almost 100,000 simoleons more expensive than my legacy house could afford that because of all of those tiny details, all of those expensive appliances and stuff. So I had to go back and forth, literally trying to figure out how am I gonna afford that for my legacy house, for my legacy save. So I had to go to my save and make some tiny little adjustments later. And by the way, this house is uploaded to the gallery in the state that you literally see right now in the game, like on the screen. So this is the final version you might see on the gallery. But my legacy version is a little bit different, of course, because my legacy version has some more customization items. Like I did have to go to remove some of my legacy photos. I had to remove the urn of Jenny's of my legacy founder because you do not need to have like foreign urn in your save file when you're downloading this house, like which literally doesn't belong to anybody. So I had to remove these and some different things too. So I'm gonna show you now what I have ended up with, and I'm gonna show you now what you're gonna get on the gallery as well. First of all, I absolutely love that I have this house, this whole manor, this whole castle, our greenhouse front side towards our world view, so I'm happy about that. And now let us go to the house itself. So this is the exterior of the house. I was going mostly for the gray colors, of course, in here for a rustic look, but I think that it does look costly enough for me to like it, but like beautiful still, like it's not too rustic for it to be. We have a nice garden out here. We have a bridge leading towards the house, and from here, like from this tiny little platform, you can either enter the house or you can go to this tiny little yard. And in here we have a fountain. Also in here we have a wishing well, several gnomes, some mushrooms around here, some flowers. Our landscaping is mostly green and pink, as you might see already. In here we have our tiny little witchcraft area where we have a tiny sitting area because this functions as a grill in my mind as well. Like we can make mac and cheese, so that's still good. Also here we have a charging table for our crystals. We have this book from a new pack that, but I just thought that it looks fitting for this area, and a cauldron, of course. And through this pathway you can access our death trap number one in this house, number two actually, because number one is this wishing well. And I try to kind of cover this whole side of the house up so that we don't have here all that much like interference from this more modern looking neighborhood building, but I still think that that looks okay. Like, of course, this house doesn't match the vibe of this neighborhood at all, but that doesn't matter. We want our legacy house to just look pretty. So that's literally the exterior. And I'm really proud of the way this greenhouse turned out to be. Like, we have a tunnel leading toward that. We have like the whole big greenhouse with a couple of rooms on the side of it. So that is beautiful for it. Now let us go inside. As you go right into the entrance of the house, and here we have our fancy entryway where we have some candlelight. In here we also have like this chandelier, big one. And by the way, this is that version of the house that is on the gallery. In here we have a tiny living sitting area. Also in here we have a couple of these cabinets, a long hallway with the Grim Phone, so you can summon Grim Reaper from here if you have Grim Phone, of course. And from here you can exit the kitchen. In the kitchen it's mostly dark, but I really like the way it looks. And I just think that it kind of looks nicely the way I did put all of these like tips up here, all of these pipes, because it kind of makes this whole chimney not so useless, because originally it is useless, but it's not anymore. This is our breakfast nook, which is also in the same time might serve as a fine dining area. This is our cat's eating area, and from here we can access this tunnel towards the greenhouses. And in here we of course have some candlelight, and in here we just have some tiny little things to do. Of course I couldn't leave Patchy alone, I brought him with me. In here we have a bonsai tree. Also in here we have some plants that we were growing around, a couple of that plant cow plants in this planter up here, a tree that grows right up into this like opening to the second view we have in here. In here also we have a live cow plant and some more gardening stalls, to say so, some vertical planters. So we have a lot of things to have in here, and I'm happy about that. Also in here we have our lemon tree, and in here we have a crystal tree. But as for these two trees, I just think that I'm gonna switch this lemon tree to plasma fruit tree, because we have vampire wind plasma. And let us go back to the house. Right across from the entryway we have a bathroom, and I know that that might sound silly, but yes, the first thing you see as you enter the bathroom is a little box. But then we also here have a tub, we have a toilet out here, and then here we have like a pedestal sink, I would say. It's not a pedestal sink, it's built-in sink, but I just think that that looks majestic, I might say, with all of these cabinets from the Royal of Magic, and I really like the way they look. And of course, on the inside we have quite a bit of stone everywhere, like you see, and some expensive wallpapers from the new pack. And as you enter the next door, in here we have an office. Office have a bit of books. Up here in the file that I have in my save file, I have some of my collectibles, my own collectibles. Some of them are in here too. I did not place them in here as well. And we have a raven, because that is new gameplay and which I wanted to try. And as we go to the next door, in here we have the most boring living room I have ever made, because it's black. It's totally black. In here we have fireplace. Also we have a plant, some curtains. We have in here some bookshelves. We have this legacy portrait. We also have Let's portrait, because we couldn't have let him out. And from here we have access to our most empty bathroom in the house, and also to the dining room, expensive one I might say, because in here we have this new, I don't know, brother or grandfather clock, but this is also grandfather clock. In here we have a bar. In here we have quite a lot of seats at night, which is not in my legacy version, but it's just too expensive for me for now. And a plant, of course. It's kind of simple, but I just think that the simplicity is the key for this kind of house to look good. And from up here, we can go up the staircase. Don't just ignore some of the buckwheat lighting. But in here up the staircase, I spent some time trying to figure out the way the staircase should look, and I think that it looks good, but I'm not sure if it functions, because I did not playtest that. But if it doesn't function, I just think that I might make this front piece of the house square, and that's gonna function after that. But I'm gonna be really sad if it doesn't. But in here we have some plants, so they just fill the area, and then here we have some hiding of the clipping, because we did need that. We don't need clipping in the house. And as you go up here, we enter the biggest hallway in the house, because from here, in my legacy file, I do have a pedestal for all of the stuff like, that represent Jenny. Like we have a couple of marriage certificates. Also in there we have an urn and a photo, marine photo. In here we have a tiny area for cats and toys around here. This is another bathroom with a fire toilet. Yes, we have a pedestal for a fire toilet. Also in here we have, in this hallway, we have like a chess nook where you can play your chess. This is Camilla's bedroom, which is maybe a little bit boring, but I'm kind of imagining that it's a fun bedroom too. Like she has a couple of windows. What else can you ask for? And she has a view on her yard, so that is beautiful too. And in here she has a gallery wall too. She has a sitting area. She has her computer area. Also, right next door from her lives Genevieve. She has a nice bedroom as well. She still has her fish tank. I did not leave it out. She has a robotics table, and all of my kids seem still to have their childhood toys, like these tiny blue face. Like they all have them still. I just think that that's a little bit more fun like that. And I just made a silly thing, but I did place a night light into the moon on this wallpaper because I thought that that looks nice. And from here we can enter another hallway bathroom, just in case if this one is busy, you can go here. In here we have an expensive tub. Also in here we have a shower room. In here we have a toilet room. In here we have a lit box room. And in here I have made another silly thing, but I did give these like pretty curtains to the cat's lit box. I just think that that looks kind of cute, so we have it here. And then here we have another double sink, so that, maybe two people might use it in the same time. One can take a shower, another one is using a toilet. Like they might both use the sink, or somebody can brush their teeth in the same time. And from here, back from the hallway, like directly from the staircase, we can access our legacy founder's bedroom, which is boring too, but kind of fun too. Like we have a green room here. Like what else can you ask for? We have a fancy mirror, we have a big window, we have our vibro beds, but that's something silly to have. Also, we have an easel in here so Jenny can paint, and we have a desk in here so Justin can program because he likes programming. And from this door, we can access like a host, like the owner of the house wing, I would say so. In here we have fake bookshelves that lead to this hallway, and also in here we have access to the bathroom, which is kind of similar to the bathroom we had everywhere in the house, but this bathroom doesn't have a toilet because this is the wing for Damon. Damon is a vampire. Vampires don't have blood in it, so he doesn't need a toilet in here. But Cat might need a toilet, so Cat does have a toilet for itself out here. And through this door, we can access Damon's bedroom. And it's more like an office looking, maybe, and maybe it has some weird vibes around it. But in here, we have our desk area. In here, we have some books around. We have a plant. We have a cat tree in here. Also, in here, we have this armchair for Damon to sit to enjoy the view of his coffin where he can sleep. And yes, I did place this in here because I'm kind of imagining that, he's a vampire. Technically, he's dead. So that is like a pedestal to stick out here all of this stuff about Damon. Maybe that's a little bit weird, but that's at least what I'm imagining this whole area to be about. And now let's go to the attic. In the attic, of course, I had to add some of this stuff like attic-like. Like we have some of these boxes around. We have our core box up here too. We have some more boxes up here, like in our attic living room, I might say. But in here we have organ too, or however it's supposed to be called in English, I'm not sure, but we have some music to play out here. We have some bookshelves, we have some stuff to read, and we have a bar because vampires do like bars. Like vampires can use bars to make plasma gene so they can drink something. And up here we have another bathroom, and yes, in this bathroom I did place a toilet, but we don't really need this toilet because it's vampires only area. And in here, on the very top of this tower, we have another office room just for Damon. In here, we have this fish tank, and here we also have a bonsai tree because, typical for the office. And also in here, we have some bookshelves just to read and a computer just to sit out here and enjoy a lonely time up here in your office. And I really like that I did not light this whole house up really much, so it's pretty dark on the inside. It's not really bright out here, but it's still nice looking because like hallways are brighter than everything else. Like we have some gloomy light somewhere in the room, so it's kind of has its atmosphere. So I'm happy about it at least. So that's that version of the house that is gonna be on the gallery. It's actually already on the gallery. It's called Legacy Castle and it uses quite a bit of packs. I'm not even gonna list all of them in the description for the video because it is a lot. It even uses some of the pack items that are pre-order specific apparently. But it is already on the gallery, so you can download it by my hashtag gloverunt, just like my YouTube name. So you can download it from there. It's already out here. And now let us go to my legacy file. And this is the house that we have in our legacy file. The exterior is pretty much the same, like literally I just did replace our wishing well with the one we have originally. And this piranha pond too, I just did replace that. In here I just did use the gramophone we already had to. In here I just did use some of the stuff we already had to. In here we have our legacy photos, so it's a little bit more fun maybe, but doesn't match that much our vibe out here. And by the way, now some adjustments. I had to replace the fridge with the cheaper one. We literally have a mini fridge out here. Also, we do have a cheapest stove in the game. One of the cheapest. It's not the city living one, not the rustic one. I'm using in here a computer that we already have. We have some more collectibles scattered around here, like some more collectibles, as I have said. As we go out here into the living room, we have a couple lacking bookshelves in here just because I was not able to afford them. That is why. Also, in the living room and our dining room, we have a couple less chairs up here by the table, and we do not have night because night is kind of expensive. As we go upstairs, in here we have some of that memorial stuff I have for Jenny. Up here, of course, it's not that memorial table, but that's what we have still. The fire toilet is still present. This toilet is literally the same. As for the kids' bedrooms, I try to leave them mostly the same, and I did. So everybody's fine. But in the bathrooms where we have tubs, like in here we have a cheaper tub. In Also, in here we have a cheaper tub. Also, Damon does not now have those fancy bookshelf he used to have originally because now we cannot afford them because we ran out of money. We were minus 100,000 simoleon. That's a lot. And the game by default doesn't allow you to go in depth, but I was thinking that maybe going in depth might be kind of fun for this legacy. Like you see, we are now positive 100,000 because I did not cheat this money away still. But I'm gonna do that when I'm gonna start my next episode with my legacy challenge. We now have much cheaper coffin. It's actually the cheapest one in the game because we couldn't afford anything more expensive. And as we go upstairs, up here, we also lack almost all of the bookshelves. We lack some art. We lack some extra computer up here. And yeah, mostly I try to save some money on the bookshelves because the bookshelves are kind of expensive, and the new ones from Life and Death pack are quite expensive. Like they are literally up here. So one bookshelf is 760 simoleons, and that's a lot. Like one for the shorter wall height is quite expensive as well, I guess. Here it is, 745. That doesn't save me any money if I'm gonna use them all the time. I did sell some more because they are expensive. I did sell some different things like some details because they were expensive. I did switch some of the appliances, so now our house is much more cheap. But yeah, by the way, we don't have a TV in this house, but as for me it's not a problem because not having a TV is fine for me because everybody has a computer. They can play computer games and that's gonna be fun. And now, yeah, I completely forgot to tell you that we now have a couple of garden gnomes out here. And I believe that it is a fun addition to the legacy house, so I decided to give them some space out here. So we have them, and that is literally it. So I think that now this house is not in the gallery because I'm not on the uploaded because you do not need all of these custom stuff that I do have because like who needs this presentation in their save file even if it's not theirs, like why would you need that? So I decided that you don't, so will not have that on in your version of the build if you're gonna download it from the gallery. But I should warn you that you do need to own quite a lot of packs if you're gonna download this house from the gallery. I might even spend some time and try and list them all in the description for you. So that's literally it. So I think that I might think of watching, and if you like videos like that, you kind of can subscribe to my channel. And I don't know what view of this house look better. Maybe this morning view looks nice. So I think that this now should probably be a goodbye. So bye guys.